G'day guys, welcome back to Arthur's videos. Have I got another doozy for you guys this week? Everybody was saying, mate, you were so excited, like a baby in a lolly shop with that new bottle. That's, guys, there you go. There's the bottle, the new bottle, the Jameson triple, mate, everyone. You know, the guy was happy that I gave him a plug-in for him who got me the bottle, you know what I mean? And I had a good response from my Space Invaders, you know, I'll be honest, you know, and yet most of them you were right, you know, how far do you go to repair them, you know, with this tracking? They go, mate, you've got patience, you know, to sit there and work on them. You got patience, you know. I say, mate, I do it because I enjoy it, you know what I mean? You know, trust me, they do my head in, that's why I drink, okay? So, guys, you know what it is now. You know what the description. It's up the top, down the bottom, whatever it is. All right. Yeah, it's before I waffle on. I need to get a yum cha in there. There it is. There's my sponsored cup from everybody. There's the bottle. There it is. There, guys. Yeah, there's the bottle. Okay, I'm pouring it in. Get ready for the drinking time. There it is. There it is. Okay, guys. I'm closing the bottle. All right. Cheers, guys. Cheers. Yum cha time. It's got the answer in the you know, it's so smooth going down. You know, with a good quality drop, you know, it goes down smooth, you know. All right. Yep, it is. It's poker machines again. All right. All right. For those guys, let me throw the box. Those guys, I said to you, I'm gonna start it with a few versions of it, you know, to tell you the story, okay? We're going to talk about these power supplies. Here it is, one here, okay? This is a power supply from an Elan, okay? And, all right, this is the power supply from an Elan. It's just normal, it's not a switch mode, it's just a linear power supply, you know? So, there's the heat sink. It sits in like so, you know what I mean? Basically like so, and that in there with all the trannies and all that. And what happens is I'll show you, I've got it in pieces, but I'll show you what a complete unit is, okay? So what happens with these guys, the AC comes in through the bridge rectifier, through there, you got your different voltages. The problem with these are the delaminating, the same word I keep using all the time, delaminating, basically, you know what I mean? And have a look here, you know. So what they've done is you got to put solder on the top, okay, solder on the top, solder down the bottom, because these are not through holes. So it's not a through hole track where they made them. So half of your problem with these guys here, half of your problems with these is the tracks, okay, basically tracks. And the other one is and I'm gonna backwards and forward. This one is an issue 5. Okay, this is issue 5, okay, this one here, okay? And then what happens is, like I said to you, the way they made these boards, these power supplies, they weren't going to be lasting to this far of the distance, basically, you know what I mean? But that's an issue 5. Here, this is an issue, this one here is an issue 4, okay? Here's an issue 4 power supply, okay? So the difference is, this one here, doesn't have, don't worry about don't worry about that. See how it's got the two trannies there? This one's broken off. But see how this one's got a tranny on this side and this one doesn't have it? So what happened was, they had, see where the tranny is? There it is there. This one doesn't have it. What happened was, that tranny is this tranny here now. See where they put it? They had it here when they made this design. So they changed it from here, and they put it on the side. So have a look at it. See the slight difference in between the two? All right, 4 and this is 5. So you sort of see the slight difference in it. You know what I mean? How I done it. So they must have found it was getting too hot on the board here. I said, all right, we'll put it onto the heat sink. So they mounted it onto the heat sink, basically, you know, with these power supplies. But have a look at this one. I've been trying to repair this. See the headers are different? I've been trying to repair it. You know what I mean? But again, don't even go with these power supplies. All right. Now, here's the base. This is how it sits. This is how it sits. The base, basically, the power supply sits inside like that. The plugs go on the side, and there's the one on the side. The biggest problem I've got two machines that I'm working on. Mate, the biggest problem is, have a look at that. This fuse is there, okay? And on the fuse, it says 7 amp. This one is 1.5 amp. Oh, yeah, there it is, 1.5 amp, 1 amp, a 1.5 amp, and a 7. Hang on, there it is. I'll hold it there for you. Okay, 7, 1.5, 1 amp, 1.5, and a 7. Mate, what I've seen in here lately is, again, dude, the reason the fuse is there is to protect the rest of the circuit. That's what a fuse does. It's to protect. If there's a problem, if there's something wrong with the power supply or further down, is there to design to blow. Doesn't mean put bigger fuse in there to keep it going. It's going to go, whatever that it had a cause, it's going to make more issues. So a fuse is designed, that's why they're in pinball machines and all that, you know, and everything you work on is a fuse. If it stays 7, put a 7. If it's 1, put a 1, not fucking something bigger. Or the old days, the old cigarette paper in the fuse and you put it in there to get the thing going. Don't worry, you know. I did that once on a pinball machine because I was on site and it was desperate. The guy was yelling at me. I put it in and fucking, yeah, it caused more problems than grief. That's what these two are. There's a 4 and a 5. Okay, now I'll show you what I got in the guy's machine here. There it is there. That's what I got in the machine. Okay, now check this out. So, again, someone must have had issues with, don't worry about that. The only one that was a right fuse was this guy here. All the others were all wrong. So what happened was, they must have had a problem with the connector there. No, we don't. We just cut it. And we go solder directly onto the board. Now check that out. Solder directly to the board. You know, that's it. We'll get it going, you know what I mean? The next person who's going to work on this, it won't be us again. So yeah, so this is what they've done. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? So there, that's what they've done. You know what I mean? Now check that out. Check that out. Okay? They did that on the power supply, sort of protection. It's a diode in there, basically. You know, I've seen that a few times done that. Okay, it's off on factory. Someone's actually done that, basically. You know what I mean? But I've got my machine. I've done a few of them. I've sorted it all out, fixed it all the fuck ups up, put the right fuses in, and it eliminates all your problems. You know what I mean? But as I said, check this guy out. You know, have a look. You know. So I don't know what to do with this guy now, you know what I mean? So again, this is why I'm shooting this video, you know what I mean? So yeah, this is issue 5. So I'm onto this now, onto his power supply now. As I said, I'm trying to work out what I'm going to do with this guy here now, you know what I mean? But I'm not leaving it like this, you know what I mean? I'm not going to leave it like this, you know what I mean? But yeah, they had all these weird fuses in there now. Now the other machine that I'm working on, here's this side, this guy here. Check this guy out. Now this one here is called an issue 6. So from a 5, it went to a 6, okay? Why they did this? Oh, it's got me buggered, you know what I mean? Check that out. It's got me buggered. That is from factory, that. I thought it was someone who did an aftermarket job. That's from factory, that. All right? So, yeah, this one here is clean, hasn't been butchered, but I've got no idea. What the hell is... What did they do this? I haven't looked at this circuit. Yeah, man, why don't you just get to download the circuit? You can figure it out yourself. I've got no clue what they did here. You know what I mean? Why they did that, it's got me stuffed. You know what I mean? So I haven't worked that out. As I said, I'm just shooting these videos to show you the linear power supply. But here's one without the cradle, basically here. This one here is an issue 6 here. That's without the heatsink. So they must have changed the design underneath, basically, for mounting. I noticed, I don't know what the hell they've done. I really got no idea, you know what I mean? Didn't put the heat sinks, you notice they haven't put the trannies on the side. They all put them right underneath here. There's a big heat sink all the way down there now. So what were they doing? I got no clue, basically, you know? So yeah, this is a spare one I got, you know? I've just got to figure it all out. As I said, I haven't seen these ones before. These are the first ones I've seen, you know what I mean, as an issue 6. But they're all like just a linear power supply. It's not a switch mode and that. But yeah, as I said, they must have came up with an idea. Oh yeah, okay, hey, check this out. This guy here, see here, okay? There's no jumpers underneath like this one here. So someone must have done that for here. They must have had issues between the connector, basically, you know what I mean? They might have had issues between the connector. That's why they did that, you know what I mean? I just noticed it, you know what I mean? This is the other one you can sort of see. Because if you notice, you can always work with something else that you've got, sort of work out what is the cowboy work, you know what I mean? So, as I said, I've worked on those other ones, on these guys. I've worked on a few of these. I've done a few of these power supplies and that. But these ones I haven't seen before, you know what I mean? So, it's pretty straightforward, easy components. They're all easy to find. It's not that hard in that. But, again, I don't know. As I said, I got no frigging clue, you know. It's not like there's a book you could open up and you could figure it out, you know what I mean? I've just got to sit here, pen and paper, and draw out the circuitry, you know what I mean? You can sort of see this section here is the same as this guy here, basically. You can sort of see the format, basically, you know. So what I'll do is I'll work out what is the input. I'll work out what is the input going in here, and then I'll work out what the outputs are. They've already got some markings over here as well. You can sort of see the markings and that. But everything with these things, what is critical is the fuses. You got to put the right fuses in, man. You know, you just don't put anything in there, whatever. It just causes more grief. You know what I mean? There's more grief because one of those machines there, this 6821s are shot, and the other guy one was shot. Four was shot on the other guy, or 5 was shot out of the 6821s. All the drivers were shot. You know what I mean? So again, you start from the power supply and you work backwards, you know what I mean? But this time I just went the other way around. You know, I started with the boards going this way. I haven't tested them, I haven't powered them up and that, but I'm just going to work on these power supplies now. But as I said to you from previously, I was going to show you the different power supplies in the Elant and the Sprint. This one was out of the Crown that I'm working on. It's come out of a Crown. So I'm surprised this is more newer. I thought the Crown was older than this, you know. But whatever, I'm confused with these, which era what comes from what, you know what I mean? So that's all my thoughts. Hey, the bottle. Okay, and guys, I'm going to sign off about these linear power supplies. As I said, I've done the hoppers. I've done now the power supplies. So, guys, I'm going to sign off. You know, the old saying of mine is, you know, pinball machines, video games, poker machines, and Dr. Love, you know. Keep the love going like I do. Patience. If you cop it in there, you do something, mate, just soldier on, mate. Soldier on. So, I'm going to have a look at these now, these power supplies today. Figure out that one there, which is the cowboy job. And I'll put it in there, but you know, I'll do it because I enjoy it, you know what I mean? So, guys, thanks for watching another one of my videos. Cheers, guys.